G'day friends, welcome to today's YouTube video. My name is James, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. Today I'll be doing the very last, I know you're all so sad about it, the very last video in my 100-day project for 2023. This is days 89 to 100, I believe. All the ones that are left. It's the rest. This is the rest. This is the last one. We'll be wrapping it all up in a nice neat bow and sending it off to the world, and we'll just have it in YouTube archives for as long as YouTube exists. I've already kind of considered this. I know I don't want to get off topic, so I really just want to talk about what I'm here to talk about today, but I have considered the other day, like, first of all, where is all the YouTube videos stored? Like, there's got to be some kind of physical storage somewhere. It can't all be out in the cloud somewhere. Where is all that? I imagine it's like in a big mountain somewhere. There's like all these computer like servers just in a mountain. And then what happens like if YouTube is just like, because it's just a company, right? What if they're just like, it ceased to exist and it's all gone? Like everything is all gone. I mean, I have all the videos on my hard drive, but it's just so bizarre. Like, I think we've all come, we've come with technology. Not everyone, I guess, like the Amish haven't, but I think when we've all come with the technology, and now that we're so used to it and it's a part of daily life, like being able to Google something straight away or being able to just look up a tutorial on how to do something on YouTube really quickly, and there's so much that we can access so quickly and so freely, I wouldn't imagine how society would change if we lost it. Like, I remember what it was like before we had it. I remember using an encyclopedia. I remember just not being able to find things out. I remember not knowing how to do something unless I borrowed a book from the library and had to read it myself. Like, I remember all of that, but yeah, now it's so random to me. Like, even I saw a thing the other day being like, oh, you just don't know what it felt like to be waiting for VH1 to play the Bad Romance music video. I think it was a TikTok I was watching. I was like, yeah, I remember sitting in front of my television, watching Rage. Does anyone remember Rage? Just waiting for all like Christina Aguilera. I was waiting for Ricky Martin to come on. I was waiting for Britney to come on. Like, I was just waiting for the music videos that I love so much. And I had this fleeting, 3-4 minutes of just enjoying the music video and thinking, well, until I catch it next time, now I can watch it at any point. It's an interesting thought. But yeah, we will leave this in that archive and see what happens to it. Fingers crossed YouTube stays around. But yeah, I had a great time. I mean, just really candid thoughts. I didn't write even down. Let's start by speaking English. I didn't even write down any of my thoughts. No pros or cons lists. And I think I've done this before. I think I've talked to you about any other challenge I've done. Mermaid, Inktober. We don't really speak Inktober's name around here, but those October ink style challenges. And on that, I have not followed Inktober since I caught wind of those like lawsuit, like legal things that he did years ago. And so that has really just like jumped out of my memory. I don't know what that resolve was. Does anyone know what happened in the end? Like, do people still do it? I don't see it as much, but my algorithm has changed wildly over the past couple of years. So who knows? I know people still do Inktober as a challenge, but is it still associated with the official Inktober thing? Did people ever get sued? Did everyone get cancelled? I have no idea. Sound off in the comments. Or don't. I don't really care, to be honest. The challenges I've done in the past, I think I've kind of expressed my thoughts about them, my pros and cons, and a lot of them still stand. I think it's always a nice feeling to set yourself up for a challenge. Intention is everything. If you really want to learn something, you have to commit to it. I always say to be careful, like if you're someone that, feels kind of negative about yourself, that you don't, you're not someone that doesn't finish things, or you're someone that has never accomplished a challenge, or you kind of feel really insecure about things, and then you give yourself a really big challenge, like a 100-day project to tackle, like it is just risk central, because, as good as it can feel to actually achieve things, it can feel, equally as bad on the other end to fail at something. And, when we choose to do these things, like no one's forcing us to do Inktober, no one's forcing us to do a 100-day project. Sometimes we can be a little unaware as to where we are in life and how we're feeling, and how we can actually be setting ourselves up for some heartache for no real reason, like, or for the, is it worth the cost, right? You want to learn how to be a bit of a better drawer, but you could also be risking setting yourself up for 3 weeks of depression because you failed at yet another thing. It's really relative to where people are at in life. But I think I got a lot of that perspective from, ironically, from like a really weird, I watch a lot of people go through these things, so I've picked up on how people talk about themselves when they fail about things. But I felt like I entered a completely unhealthy space a few years ago where personally in life, I think I was just struggling with a lot. I mean, I know I was struggling with a lot. And I don't like to put a lot of that on YouTube. Those are really personal things that I probably would never speak about on YouTube for real. But I just wanted to feel like I could do something. Like I wanted to feel successful at it. I wanted to feel like I was making it somewhere. I wanted to feel like I could do it. I had something to prove to myself. I had to be, in control of this outcome, and I had to be able to do it and to show everyone that I was successful, that I was doing something. And, it was very much a validation for myself, but it was public as well. So I was also appreciating the validation that I would get publicly. Even though at the time I felt really good about it and those were really good feelings, I think there was a deeper underlying issue that I had that since I have been working on and over the past few years have found a lot more peace and healing with. I've actually found a lot of the desire to do these challenges has kind of fallen away. And so, even though there were some goals I had, the goal I had to learn how to be better with ink when I first did that Inktober challenge, or the goal that I had to share every day because it would make me more of a consistent sharer. I had these kind of goals, but I didn't realize that like a motivating factor, a driving force behind the whole thing, the reason why I would do, I think at one point I did 3 Inktobers at once. So there was like 90 something drawings in 1 month, and I was doing art journaling and like videos and everything on the side, but I just had to do all of this because I just felt so out of control about other things. I think there was a deeper intention and motivation that was very unhealthily fueling that experience. However, would I take it back? Would I do it again and not do it that way? No, I actually feel like I needed to go through all of that to get a good understanding of who I am when I take on these challenges and why I do it. And also it was a really good lesson in learning, I check in with myself all the time, but there are still things like I don't really know I'm experiencing, or I don't really know why I'm doing them. And I need a lot of hindsight to look back on and understand my own patterns of behavior, my own kind of driving forces and what it is that I do and how I do it. And so I think journaling alongside all of it has actually been quite revealing as well. And that's what I credit a lot of my 5-year journal to, that daily kind of check-in with myself. Because I got a really good look at who I was during that period, what I was struggling with, and how I was compensating. And a lot of that was just taking on all these challenges and trying to prove that I could do it, that I was successful, that I could achieve something, that I really needed to feel those things. So yeah, would I change it? No. Do I think it's the healthiest place to come from? No, also. But also, being in a healthier place, now I'm less motivated to do challenges. So, take your pick. Who really knows why we do a lot of things? The 100-day challenge this time, I think I was a lot more honest with myself about why I was kind of getting into it. I was just finishing up my season at Dancing at Disneyland, and I knew I was going to have a bit of extra time because for the months over Christmas and the New Year, I was very split between doing my business here and then dancing as well. And so I felt like I had 2 full-time jobs going. And then when I was finishing up that season, I knew I was going to have just my business to worry about again. And I thought, well, I'm going to have all the time that I would have been dancing open to me, because I've managed to strike this balance of this is how my business works, this is how I can be really focused and really on schedule, and then I'll have all this extra time. And I didn't want in my extra time to become that kind of idle couch potato me that I know I can be sometimes. I also knew I was going to be a little bit upset about not dancing again, and it wasn't just that I wasn't performing, because I still go to Zumba, I still go to dance class, I dance. Even when I go to auditions now, I've really appreciated the opportunity to go and perform for the day, because that just feels like another way I get to go and do it. But I just knew it was going to be different. I'd gotten so used to seeing people every day and being social, and there was a lot that I was going to miss about it. Missing extra money as well. I just love the extra bit of paycheck that I would get every week. That was nice. So I wanted to channel some of that energy into another project, and not something that was really associated with my business per se. There's a lot of things I do, and even though I can enjoy doing them, and I always try to gear it towards having a good time and enjoying it, there's an end goal for creating a product or some money, or it has to sustain the business in some way. So when I'm doing a workshop, it's I want to enjoy it, so I choose themes that I enjoy and I choose things I want to do. But there is also a different set of criteria going on in my head when I'm doing it. I'm it has to be done well. It has to hit all of these points. It has to make sure it addresses this. So it's not as thoughtless and carefree as, say, doing a challenge where I don't have to make anything good. I can completely screw it up and it'll be completely fine. And yeah, there's no stakes. It's not going to be sold anywhere. Excuse me, my nose. Oh, it's just gonna be one of those days. There was no stakes that I felt like it was really going to be a problem. So I took the challenge on thinking this would be a great distraction, also a great project to work on. I said I wouldn't commit to it because I have committal issues. Um, Sometimes I'm shocked that I'm married because I really do have commitment issues. As a person, I know it's not a great thing. And many family members and friends have told me it's very frustrating. And I do empathize with these people. But I can't be any other way. I have tried. I really have tried. There's just something about me that needs to reserve the right to say no right up until the end. Because I don't want to be a flake either. So I'm being realistic. Like, I will probably cancel on you right at the end if you make me choose 3 weeks ago. And there are things in the past that I've committed to that I just feel like, and a lot of this, like, I was like this before, but especially like after my accident, my brain like snapped that day because I had committed to doing something that day that everyone else kind of bailed on. And I thought, well, like, just to prove that I was committed to it, I'm going to go on that ATV, and then I end up getting hit by a car. But, you know, like, I learned my lesson. From that day on, I was non-committal, just all the way. Except the day I got married. I was very committed to that. So yeah, I just don't want to commit to it. And I knew going into it that I had never done a 100-day project. So I thought, well, there's a good possibility, like in the 30-day month projects, I kind of hit a slump a couple of weeks in. I was like, if I get to that slump a couple of weeks into a 100-day project, there's no way I'm going to commit to finishing that. So I just thought, give myself an out, give myself a get out of jail free card. What are you going to do? No one's going to tell me I can't do that. So do that. That sounds like it'll be good. I really believe now that when I do a challenge, like, just set yourself up for success. Like, just give yourself the lowest possible standard to achieve. Because, I mean, you're going to get there. Like, if it's a really achievable thing, like, you can get there and feel good about it. You know, add all of those extra intense kind of goals later. Set your first few challenges up to just maybe not even complete it, but maybe even get through half of it. You know what I mean? Like, it depends. If you're like me and once you commit, I'm sure you know what to do. But I know a lot of people start challenges and a lot of people struggle to get through them. So I always give that piece of advice that, you know, set it up in a way that you are going to likely succeed, because it really does feel good. When you do achieve it, when you do get to the end of it and you've met your goal, it's great. A little bit of dopamine, you can ride that wave into whatever you choose to do next. So all of those opinions that I've had before on challenges still kind of stand. I was most shocked that I got through this one just because it was 100 days. And since I had never committed to it, I feel like, how on earth did that just happen? I think I was motivated to do it in different waves. I think a lot of the motivation came after my cruise holiday, because I was about 2 weeks behind at that point. And I felt like, no, I really want to go and do it. And I actually felt better doing tons of them at once, because I felt like once I was in the zone, I was having a good time. And also I could move on quicker from ones that I didn't like. I always feel a little bit like, ugh, like if I don't like it, yuck, I don't want to do the next one. Like, give up all these things. And then other days I feel like, yuck, I hate that one. Let me do another one really quickly. But for this experience, I felt like, because I was doing them kind of a lot at once, as soon as I did one that I didn't like, I was like, great, I'm just gonna move on to the next one. Maybe I'll like the next one. So there was a really interesting variety. I've since put them on Instagram, laid out all next to each other. I think it's 2 different carousels on Instagram, one after the other, but they're all lined out. UPS guy is running. I think he's running after someone who took the package. People are wild out here with these packages. Anyway, they're all lined up next to each other, and I think it's really interesting to look at because, you know, I have my favorites and I have ones that I think I did really well at, and then there's ones I think I didn't do so well at, and you can see like it's like a like this. There doesn't seem to be any kind of pattern for success. And also I didn't do them daily, so I couldn't even say like, does it match my mood? Did it match, like, if I had good days? That might be really interesting actually. If you tracked, like, you know, your feeling for the day and then looked at the result that you did for your daily challenge, maybe you could correlate something. Maybe on days you were happier, you created pieces that you actually liked. Maybe on days you were sadder, you didn't. Or if you tracked them, you tracked your mood, and then you tracked your opinion of that piece on that day, and then hit all of those, and then right at the end, on a good day, tracked your opinion of those pieces and re-rate them and see if your opinion was swayed by your feelings and emotions, because I know that can be a big thing for me too. If I'm already in like a bit of a negative headspace, I get really laser focused on things that I think are terrible, and then on days where I'm just happy and a little carefree, it could be the ugliest picture in the world and I'll be very proud of it. I will print it out and put it on the wall. So like, I mean, I appreciate a bit of delusion. I think delusion goes a long way in a creative field, but that's kind of it. I mean, my sentiments are always kind of the same. I'm just mostly shocked this time that I got through it, and it has been nice to be able to share all of them on Collage Club as well. I felt like that was a really nice thing to be able to do, just because I wanted to, when I started Collage Club, make it a very like current, I know it's kind of ironic considering I do a lot of older stuff too, but I wanted it to be a way that whatever I was doing, people were able to like take part in it and share in it and like use it and put it in their journals and reference it and like do whatever they wanted to do with it. And so for things like these challenges, that's when I really, like we did it for Daisy Ween last year. I really enjoy Collage Club for that, because I really feel like in real time, the stuff that I'm working on, the stuff that I'm sharing, I can hand over and people can use it. And like, yeah, I like it. I think that was an extra added bonus for me. But yeah, I mean, I saw a bunch of people get through it as well. Congrats to everyone that got through the 100-day project. People are still working on it and still going for it. Congrats to you as well. To people that didn't manage to get through it, congrats to you as well, because starting it is still something. You know, whatever you feel about it, challenges are challenging by nature, but it's to all a degree, right? It's all relative. If you want it to be a simple challenge, you can set it up that way. If you want it to be a really difficult challenge, you can set it up that way. And we're all kind of different. We all feel differently about our progress and how we make it. I personally just have to go from success to success. I like to swing that vine. I don't really enjoy having catastrophic failures and trying to learn from those. Those are the least likely scenarios to happen that I would learn from. I don't enjoy that. I tend to be very pessimistic by nature. Not even. Scrap that. I'm actually very hopeful and optimistic. I'm very cynical, and I don't like failure like that. So I always set pretty realistic things. I think I know myself well enough now to know how to set myself up for success, and I really enjoy just riding that wave. And it's all relative. I mean, I'm also not stupid. Like, someone could look at me and be like, well, he's just choosing to do the simplest things. And I would absolutely agree. Yes, but it works for me. And that's what's most important for moi. But anything else I have to share for the project? Not really. That's it. That's that on that. Am I looking to do another one? No, not at all. I don't have any feelings beyond that, actually. I think it just stopped. You know what was actually kind of sad was I got to my 5-year journal. I've been tracking it by printing out smaller versions for my 5-year journal. And so when I was tracking it, I got to the end and then I had nothing else. Like, once the 100 stickers, little photo stickers, were in there, I had nothing else to put on the next day. And suddenly I felt like, oh, like, this is terrible. Where's all the rest of my, like, where's all the rest of my art from my 5-year journal? So that's the only place that I felt like it kind of made me think, oh, I should have kept going, or I should have done something. But then I draw every day anyway. So I really am keeping on going. It was never about developing a habit for me. Like, I've always been drawing and painting, and, you know, I've been doing Collage Club for years. So like, it really is not going to affect anything. I think the extra bit of time that I have and my creative energy, I'm just pouring into other things now. Things that, you know, like, now that I have this motivation, I kind of pour it back into other work things that I have to achieve. Like, I have to, you know, make some new products and put in my store, because it's just kind of been dormant for a while. So I actually felt like this was a pretty good way to address that, because I've been using my stamps for so many months. I felt like there was some stamps I wish I had that I know I've never created, and so I created those. I did a bit of a probably not gonna be able to see this very well in the picture-in-picture, but I did a bit of a test sheet. I put a bunch of images that I liked from the challenge itself. Some are from old things as well, like they're not all from the challenge, but a few of the faces that I liked and the proportions, I used those to kind of craft out these new sets of stamps. And I made this set. This is the one I want to send off to the manufacturer. I think I want it as a 6x8. And these are like kind of my fashionista gorals. So I think name pending, but it's probably going to be something stupid like that. I think that's what I want to add. I think I would have a great time having a set of stamps that looked like that specifically, and mostly because I noticed when I would do a lot of the faces, the proportions I've been using have completely switched up since I made those first stamps. I always lowered the eyes and squished the face, larger forehead, and I think a lot of that came from Virtual Voyage 4. When I was really diving into style and looking at people's styles and mashing them all together, I found a completely new appreciation for this certain face map that I've really been leaning into heavily ever since then. So, you know, it's funny to kind of look back on now to know that that was the period that it all switched, because I didn't know at that time that's what I was doing. I thought I was just experimenting and playing like I always did. I didn't know that it would stick for as long as it has. That now I should be looking back on it thinking, oh yeah, I made that switch back in Virtual Voyage 4 and I just haven't really noticed it since now. I knew things were changing, but I didn't realize it was like a fully developed preference now. Like, I'm not really switching back to the old style of the proportions I was drawing faces. It seems to all be this now. So I really wanted to update that for myself. And selfishly, I make all these stamp sets for myself. What can I say? And then I really loved that mermaid that was lying down. I used the Corner Pieces stamp set, which are a really small 2x6 set. And I made a mermaid version of those corner pieces as well. So I want to put these into production as well. I have to get the manufacturer to tell me if those details are too small, because in rubber, I feel like you can get a good, really fine detail as long as the file looks right. But these lines are teeny tiny. They're like hairline thin. I don't know if we can do that in photopolymer the same way I could do it in rubber, but I'm not interested in making a rubber set of stamps. So jury's out on that one. And then just for fun, I used those same mermaid corner pieces. I blew them up in a file, digital file, and I just drew the little mermaids on there. I might make this for Collage Club at some point. Maybe I'll color them in. I don't really know. I just did it for fun, but I wanted to show that to you because I was proud of it. So yeah, that's kind of something that I'm thinking of. Oh, I also put an order out. This is not relevant. It's stamps, so it's relevant-ish. But remember these little guys? The little set of rubber stamps that I made for Virtual Voyage 6 bento box. I put another order of these in, so that manufacturer is hopefully going to get back to me today and let me know how long that might take. So look out for those in the future as well. I have no specific release dates for any of these stamps, but I will obviously let you know on socials when they'll be available. And I think I want to put back my old Unbothered set into production as well, just as like a little bit of a, you know, throwback, like just have a little limited run of it, just to put it back in there, because I know a bunch of people were asking about that set specifically. I didn't even really notice a preference for sets either. I feel like I was kind of generous and used a lot of them for a lot of different reasons, but there were just things I felt like were missing for me, especially like just a fashion figure. I don't know why I don't have one of those yet, so I really wanted to get that done. So hopefully I'll get that done soon and we can play with those. But yeah, that's it. That's all for my 100-day project. I hope you enjoyed following along, and I hope you enjoyed the videos that accompanied it. I am not looking to start another project anytime soon. I'm going to be focusing a lot of my attention now on creating Virtual Voyage 8, which will be a sequel to the Burtonville course, which we did in Virtual Voyage 2. It's going to be all about Tim Burton. It's going to be a lot of fun, or the art of Tim Burton. And yeah, that's where my focus is going to be. Thank you so much for joining me today. I will hopefully see you again. Have a great weekend. Goodbye.